Welcome!
Welcome to the Omniverse of Nick and the penultimate part to What If Jill Roberts Survived. Before we get into it, be sure to check out the Omniverse's homepage where our channel mascot Omni will direct you to the Discord, both Google Docs, and everything else the Omniverse has to offer, along with smashing the like button, subscribing to the Omniverse of Nick, sharing the Omniverse around and turning on all Omniversal notifications, and commenting future requests and expectations in the comments section. With all that said, let's begin. We open up where we ended off last time, with Sydney and Gale, guns drawn, at nighttime, at Jill's house, which has not been touched or approached for years. Little do they know, Jill's been at this place ever since she survived a lot longer and more methodically thought out than these two could have ever planned for. Sydney enters one part of the house. Gale enters the other. But so far, they find nothing. But then Gale says for Sydney to come into this room. Sydney comes in, and there is both of Sydney's daughters, with tape around their mouths and securely tied up. And then Sydney turns around, and a ghost face is staring her dead in the eyes. Sydney draws her gun, but the ghost face just stands there, and she tells him, Jill, unmask yourself so we can finish this once and for all. But the unmasking is not who anyone, especially watching this video, would expect. Stu unmasks himself, and Sydney cannot believe it. And Stu revives an old line. Surprise, Sydney. And then Gale sees another ghost face confront her. And this one is actually Jill. So now Jill and Stu face down Sydney and Gale. And Sydney just cannot believe it. Not only did her cousin survive, Stu? But that's impossible! She shoved a TV onto his head. His freaking head exploded with the electricity from the TV. There's no way that he should have been able to survive. Okay, Jill? Maybe. And Jill says, if there's one thing you're too foolish to ever realize, Sydney, it's that you should have followed the rule. Always double tap. And she has been watching her and everybody else for a much longer time than Sydney could ever have anticipated. Lucky enough, she thought this out well enough to have people to back her up in her new plan. And that day, Sydney left her in that hospital bed and made that monologue to her. It's the last thing she remembered before she fully blacked out from that zap to the head. If anything, that zap to the head made her smarter, darker, and much more methodical. And her two friends that she made. She knew that she wasn't going to get anywhere with Charlie. That's why she killed him. But Stu and their other friend, this time, Sydney's alternate ending, she's getting her victory this time. And Sydney says, but how? There's no possible way that, for one thing, you two were able to meet so coincidentally and plan this out without any of us knowing about it. And if what you say is true, and Stu really did survive just on his own, and you two met each other, who's the third one? Kirby knows. We know that there's a third one. Now that you've said it face to face, who is it? Who else did you get on your little lapdog list, Jill? And Stu says, really? You couldn't have guessed it already? And he says, You didn't honestly think that we were going to expect you to come alone, did you? That little party trick might have worked against Roman, not against us. And we took the liberty of having our other partner in crime stay at the house with your little hubby Mark and Kirby. So, by the time that you get back, if you ever get back, they'll be dead on the ground. And once our friend here gets the job done, you'll be outnumbered, outgunned, and revenge will be ours. And Mark should be facing down our friend as we speak. And Sydney says, "So, seems like you really did think of everything. And you're right. I wasn't going to come alone. The games end here, Jill. Revenge. I should have known that more than one person survived, especially considering the fact of how deep you went on the phone. But bringing my kids into it was the most personal thing you could have done. Not even Roman went that far." And Stu and Jill say, "Personal? Do you really want to talk personal with what you've done to us?" With Stu, you almost killed him. Scarred his face for life, literally and figuratively. Took his friend away, Billy Loomis. Him go on a over 10 plus year journey to rediscovering himself, waiting for a chance to get revenge. But unlike me, Sydney, it was the perfect time. So, all we had to do was wait. And for both of our survivals, as we've said, you should have double tapped, which is exactly what we did with Sam and Tara. With Stu scarring his face for life and almost killing him meant that there was almost no conceivable way for him to ever come back to the Stu that he once was or get his revenge. Stu says the road wasn't easy. He went on a long, long path after getting off of that TV. After discovering what he looked like, having a very vague and small memory of what actually happened. It took him years to remember. But Jill was the one thing that punched the reality back into him. So, while everybody else was worried about Sam and Tara's little storyline, the daughter of Billy Loomis, we were staging the perfect site for our revenge. And Jill said, "You put the nail in the coffin for this plan, Sydney. The second that you zapped me in that hospital." And a flashback ensues of her doing just that. And she says that day, "You didn't just change Stu by dumping a TV on his head. You changed me by zapping mine. You could have killed me that day. You killed Roman. You killed Stu. Well, at least you thought you did. You killed Billy. You killed every single person that stepped in your way. Every person that ever wanted to kill you. Except for me. And I'll be the first to admit, my plan probably didn't go the way that I thought it would last time. Thought you would have died right here on this floor. The second I stabbed you, Charlie weakened me. He had to die. So, that's exactly why new plan had to get set into place. And Stu and our other friend, perfect opportunity. So, we decided to wait. And then Stu takes over from there. Then all we had to do was make sure that no true threats could get in the way of our plan. Sam and Tara had to die. And as much as it hurt me for seeing my old partner Billy's daughter die, we knew that it was worth it to get the true revenge. Plus, she wasn't a true daughter of Billy Loomis. The killer instinct was there, but she was never going to be what Billy was. And then, Jill says, then we heard something very interesting. Something that actually piqued my interest. Maybe not so much Stu and our partners, but mine. We heard about Dewey. And that definitely piqued my interest. After all, if it wasn't for him, you would never have zapped me. That fool got in the way, so if anything, let's just say he got what he deserved. And Gail just instantly raises her gun and says, I'm going to kill you both and your partner right now. And Sydney says, no, Gail. We need to know something else. If you're really going to make this about revenge, putting my kids into it, staging this over 10, 20-year master plan, then I deserve to know at least one thing. And she says, if Mark and Kirby and them are really in danger, Chad and Mindy, you killed Sam and Tara, then answer me this one request. Who else is with you? Who's the last one? And Jill says, well, we didn't really think that you were going to buy into the identity of our other partner. But since you've already met two people you failed to kill, I might as well mention you failed to kill another. Mickey. And she says, it's honestly quite surprising. You both did a number on him. I'm honestly surprised that we were able to even pluck his body up. He was the hardest one to get on board with this plan. If anything, he's as much of a liability as Charlie was. But he's the ultimate needle mover for our plan. We knew that you both were going to come here. That's why Mickey's there. With the ultimate advantage of surprise. Your little hubby and Kirby and that core 4 or whatever, once we get rid of those two, that little legacy of new protectors is gone. Your little core 4. As for your little baby, we're not going to kill it. I'm not that dark, Sydney. But what we are going to do is we're going to make you suffer. We're going to make sure that not only do Chad and Mindy die, we're going to make sure your hubby dies. And then your baby is going to get a front row of both of your daughter's deaths, Gail's death, and then yours. Oh, but yours? All three of us are going to take turns dismantling, killing, knifing, stabbing, and torturing you until your eyes are so bloodshot with terror, fear, and pain that you hold no life in you left whatsoever. It will make that girl, what's her name? Casey? Stu? Yes, Casey. It's going to make her death look like a walk in the park. And we all know what happened to her. So once we're done with you, your baby will live just fine. But it will have to grow up without a mom, without siblings, without a daddy. And once it gets old enough, we'll kill him too. Once he realizes he's got no family, no reliable siblings, and a child without a dream. That's when we'll kill him. So as for you right now, it's time to face the facts, Sydney. You should have killed us when you had the chance. And Stu laughs along with this and says, oh boy, this is about to get good. And all four of them raise their weapons as the ultimate fight is about to begin. Meanwhile, Mark has his gun raised on the ghost face he's about to face. Two faces. And he looks to see who this ghost face is. And he can't believe it when it's Mickey Altery. And Mickey says, are you surprised? You should be. Or rather, you shouldn't be. We all knew that you were going to send both Sydney and Gail. And now all of you are left, pointlessly outmaneuvered and outmatched. I'm the only one that is required to take care of all of you. But this time, you all don't get a second chance. I'm going to make sure that I do what all of the other previous ghost faces refused to do. Put your lights out forever. No more talking, singing, zip. And Chad is the first to die. Actually, Mark, at this point, since this has been proven, he unholsters his gun and just instantly goes to surrender. But then he tries to fight with an open opportunity, but Mickey says, you die next. Can't wait till Sydney sees her man on the ground with nothing but the baby left to see her die. And right when he goes for the kill, it seems like it's all over. Kirby is on the ground, pretty much dead. Mindy is defenseless. And the infant is just left there, just not even knowing what to do because it's a freaking infant. But just then, something happens that no person at all would have expected. Mickey is shot down over 15 times in the head, stomach, legs, arms, heart, everywhere by an unknown assailant. And once this person comes into the light, Mark, Kirby, and Mindy cannot believe their eyes. It's Dewey? And he says, let's go save them both. And with that, we get into the closing chapter next time for Jill Roberts' survival.
Now get out!
What?
Get out! Everybody get out!